I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So, you like to get to the moon, eh? Well, listen, mate, you ain't really got to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to fight getting to the moon. Are you ready? Grab yourself a clipboard and take some notes. You're going to need a few things first. First, you're going to need a great big black chalkboard. That's right, big black chalkboard, plenty of white chalk. I'll tell you why. You're going to have to explain to the press exactly how you plan on getting to the moon. Now, a chalkboard is great because you can always erase it if you make a mistake, okay? So grab a great big black chalkboard. Alright, now that you got your chalkboard, you're gonna need some people that are convincing, you know, rocket scientists and the like. So, I suggest first you get a time machine. Now, why a time machine? Well, the greatest rocket scientists, the most well-known, come from back around the time of the end of World War II. Okay, now you say you don't have a time machine, no problem. Grab a Volkswagen, full great big magnets, and an egg timer, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Not right now, mind you, but at the end of the video, if you wouldn't mind, send me $237.86. That's right, I'm not taking quit anymore. And I'll be glad to see all the plans for a fantabulous time machine. But in the meantime, let me get back to your clipboard and what you're gonna need to get to the moon. Or to fake it, right, mate? Here we go. You ready? Alright, you're getting your time machine that you've already paid me for, right? You go back to around the end of World War II, and you go to Peenemünde, okay? There you will find a guy named Werner von Braun. Grab him and about 1,000 of his Nazi rocket scientist buddies, bring them back to America. You can ask Truman while you're there how he did it using Project Paperclip. Now, once you bring him into the States, it's important that you burn all the Nazi uniforms. Put them in a great big pile, big heaping pile, and burn them just like Hitler did with the books, eh? Okay, now that you got a bunch of naked rocket scientists standing around and you wonder what you do with them, right? Well, it's not a problem. You get some American clothes, you know, go down to Salvation Army or something like that. Grab all kinds of like suits and, you know, general, you know, American wear, and put them on your Nazi scientists, right? Now, Werner von Braun, he's pretty smart, right? He's pretty good crack. He's got a good head on his shoulders, right? So you want to make him in charge, right? You put him in charge of NASA or Marshall Flight Center, whatever you got going on down there, right? And you give him, you know, a bunch of fucking money, you know, but billions of dollars, billions of American dollars, and you say, hey, man, get us to the moon, mate, right? Alright. Now, you got Werner von Braun, you got them all dressed up like an American, right? Put some flags around them, that's right, American flags, to help sell them, you know, sell the image of him as an American. Alright, you got it, you got your Nazis, you got your clothes making them look like they're not Nazis, right? Like regular Joe, American Joe, right? Now all you need is, you got the flags, right? Make sure if you need lots and lots of flags. Now to fake a moon mission, you're gonna need a shitload of flags. Because everyone knows if you have an American flag, Americans will become all patriotic and all their thought process will go all skewy on them because they're so busy saluting or putting their hands over the heart they haven't got a bloody minute to think, right? Alright, you've got your ardent Nazi rocket scientists, you've got a shitload of money. What you're gonna need now is some props to make this thing look right, correct? Okay, now you gotta compartmentalize because you can't have the left hand knowing what the right hand is doing, right? So you IOC Grumman, North American Aviation, and Boeing, and you give them some contracts, right, to make you some pieces of, you know, equipment for the moon missions. So you're gonna need a rocket, right? But you want a rocket that really, really works, right? Because you want people to say, hey, look, they just set people up there to the moon, right? And remember, you got flags around because they'll be so busy saluting. They won't think, maybe there's nobody on the rocket, right? Okay, then you're gonna need a lunar lander. Now this is very important because this is the clutch when they see them landing on the moon. That's what's really gonna drive this thing home, right? So you're gonna need some simulators, see? You're gonna need simulators in order to create the footage to make it look like they're landing on the moon. But they won't really be landing on the moon, right? They'll be in the middle of the desert, right, having donuts, tea crumpets, whatever you got, while they're filming the mission of landing on the moon ahead of time. Now, it's very important that you don't let anybody see you doing the simulations, right? Or if they do, what we tell them is it's just for practice for when they really do go to the moon. You could call it let's say Apollo called it the Apollo Simulation Project, right? You could do something like that, right? Call it the old Moon Simulation Project or whatever. Don't copy them. They've already done it once, right? Now, in order for your simulators to be convincing, you're gonna have to make some great big moon models. That's right, great big huge ones, different sizes so that you can show the moon supposedly from different locations as you get closer and further away from the moon. You're also going to need a great big crane so that you can lift and lower your lunar module onto and off of your moon set. In order to justify the huge sum of cash that has been allotted to you in order to go to the moon, you're gonna have to come up with some videos and some photos to prove that you actually went. Alright, now this is quite difficult because it's very difficult to shoot videos and film of being on the moon without using some tricks. Now let me tell you about some of the tricks you can use. First, you're gonna have to use a black backdrop. The reason you're gonna need a big black backdrop is because it's impossible to fake all those stars in space. You see, even an amateur astronomer would be able to point out the fraud. So you just put up a big black backdrop and tell everybody it's impossible to see stars on the moon. Who's gonna argue with you? How are they gonna prove you can see stars from the moon? Nobody can get there because of the radiation, so how are they gonna prove you wrong? You got them right by their fuzzies, eh? No problem. Alright, you've got your pre-recorded video and photos from your moon set. Let the crowd see your astronauts go up the top of the rocket. Then they can slide down the escape chute before launch. Launch the rocket, get the crew really pissed and let them play some craps. Meanwhile, play your pre-recorded audio and videos of the various stages of the mission. The 30-second weightless bits, you record it in the vomit rocket. The approach. The moon landing, including the up and around and gallivant on the moon set. Make sure you get plenty of photos and video of your astronaut actors saluting the flag and picking up rocks. Now it's time for the return trip. Show your pre-recorded video of the ascent stage launch. This is where your big-ass crane is going to come in handy. All it is left is splashdown. Sober up your inebriated astronauts and get them onto a C-5 transport plane, along with your space capsule. Drop them out of the back of the C-5 to be picked up by a Navy ship. This should add to the authenticity of the mission. Congratulations! You just faked a moon mission.
And now for something completely different.
You're gonna have to use that black drop now because the reason you're gonna have to use a black drop In order to justify the incredible sum of money that they've given you to get to the moon, you're gonna have to come up with some pictures and some photos. You're also going to need a great big crane so that you can lift your moon module. You're also going to need a great big crane so you can lower and lift your moon landing dealio baba. Fucking hell. Now when you're making your simulators, it's going to be quite important that you fuck it up. Now when you're making your simulators, it's going to be very important that you make some live... Now, when you're making the simulators, it's going to be very important for the filming that you have some moon balls, some great big moon models. You have to make different sizes because you're going to be filming from different... Oh, fuck. And how are they gonna argue with you, eh? Nobody could get to the moon to prove that you can't see stars from the moon. So you see, you've got them by the nollies, right? You got them by the crispy little critters right below the leggies, right? That's not right. I need serious help.